Hello, welcome to Kijinkan. This video is going to be a little bit different than normal. Wanted to go over a common complaint, a common statement about Aikido, modern Aikido, as it's practiced today, which I am by no means a fan of, but mostly a complaint about not being able to handle strikes as you see them in boxing, modern strikes, MMA strikes, whatever you want to call it. And one of the things that is confusing about that is it's not trained in most modern Aikido schools, and so people don't understand it when they practice it. So you'll see people will try to translate their techniques to deal with the blade hand stuff like shomanuch and yokomunuch to jabs and hooks, and their hooks usually have to be real wide and ineffective for that to work. And a lot of times the way people strike when they're trying to translate it for Aikido, it's not a very effective strike, just like they don't usually do a very effective grab. Most of the time it's not an attack. And the truth of it is that the movements that you need to prepare for, you can actually find in Aikido as it should be trained. And you actually get a clue from Ueshiba sensei where he explains that someone grabbing your collar, you know, munedori or munedori or whatever you want to say, when they grab here, it's essentially the same thing as if they were to thrust, you know, a strike to the same area. Or he says also, you know, with a knife or hold a gun to your chest, or thrusting with a spear. I believe he also says is the same. But it's clear that he's explaining that it's not the attack itself, it's the movement pattern and the principle of it that is what is important. So if you take that into consideration, a good jab is not going to be, you know, here out like this, or it's not going to be, you know, some kind of fanciful kung fu movement. It's going to be out and in real quick, and it's going to follow a certain pattern. Same thing with a cross. You're going to see a cross. It's going to be a sweeping movement out, right? And that is much more like someone grabbing your shoulder, if you think about it, and we'll demonstrate that here pretty soon, than this movement right here. This is, it's a worthwhile strike to train, I believe, still very useful. However, it doesn't translate to the same movement as a modern cross. So I have with me Holly. She's been training with me for roughly 2 years. And I've got Joe, who actually just came to participate in one class so far. He explained his martial arts background, and he has about 7 years experience in a striking system, like a modern kind of almost MMA striking system. So I wanted to have him come out, and we'll do a quick video to exemplify what I'm trying to explain to you. So without any further ado, if you give me Shoman. We defend against Shoman like this. Again. Hey. Alright, so lead jab. Oh, really quick. Okay. Oh, contact. Okay, so we deal with the Shoman thusly. Go ahead and give me a Shoman. Lead jab. Okay. Now, just like I was saying, that cross movement where he's trying to sweep the chin, that's going to be more like he's grabbing the shoulder, right? So he grabs the shoulder, and all of this is found in the basic curriculum that we learned here, which you can find in the literature left behind by Ueshiba sensei himself. So she comes and grabs the shoulder, right? I'm going to move it straight. Give me a lead cross, please. Whoa.
Almost got you, too.
Almost. And then, for instance, you'll see low hook. So coming up. Ooh, yep. Okay.
Okay.
Oh. All right. So real slow. Follows the same pattern as she's moving into grab. Not exact, but it's similar pattern. So you can translate that. Go ahead and do the sauce there.
Okay. You want it
Yeah. Okay. So you see, like I said, if it's not regularly trained, it's tricky. It's hard to do, which is why you have to incorporate the movements that you've been taught and actually take time to train it against the strikes that you're going to encounter. Another thing to consider, you're not just going to have a jab out. He's doing a pretty good job of not just feed me an arm, but not only is it not going to stay out there, it's not just going to be one. It's going to be combinations. He's going to be striking. He's going to be moving around. You start to learn that in the basic stuff that Ueshiba left behind. How do you do that? Same way. He grabs, then they strike. They'll grab the chest, then they'll offer an overhand. They'll grab the wrist, and then they go for a yokomen strike. Obviously, that's not translating everything the same as it would be now, but you start to learn how to deal with multiple attacks. So for instance, one of the basic ones, she grabs and an overhand strike. Overhand strike works pretty good. Okay. Alright, come again. Same thing. If he were to go low then high, so he gives me a low, and then an over, right? So I'm going to move the same way. So he goes low, and I'm going to go over this way. Okay? Just some thoughts I wanted to go over to try to explain how you're supposed to be training to deal with the strikes. You don't try to make something up. The pattern's already there. The striking movement, the human body can only move so many ways. So it's easy to see. They come in this way. You need to react quickly to it to prepare for that. So, again though, you need to use those patterns to train against modern strikes in order to actually be effective against it. But that's all I wanted to talk about this time around. And